If you are in a car when an attack happens, I'm telling you again and again, use it to get yourself and your family to safety. Hi everyone, this is John with today's active self-protection lesson. Today's lesson comes to us from the Philippines, and there are actually two lessons wrapped into one here. We're going to see a gunfight erupt, and I don't have all the details on who's a good guy and bad guy there, but that's going to teach us some important stuff about capacity, about movement, about getting shots on target. Also here, we're going to have some bystanders in a vehicle right in the middle, going to teach us some important lessons about being a bystander in some violence and getting the heck out of there if you possibly can. There are two very distinct lessons here as we see all these cars that come and they're in this kind of trafficky area. And as this car stops because of all the traffic around him, a gunfight erupts right around this truck where we see two people here, and I have no idea who a bad guy or a good guy is. Doesn't look like there's any good guys here. I don't know what's going on. Have a gun battle around this car full of people, and you see the first person kind of bail out as the bad guys are just shooting at each other again and again and again, and people are trying to get out of this car. The gun battle comes back their way. One of the bad guys is shot pretty badly there. The other bad guy is taking some time to get his gun back in the fight as more people are piling out of the car and trying to stay out of the danger zone. Shots still ringing out around this car as bad guy number 2 is trying to finish off bad guy number 1 with people still inside the car. Think about how long this is if you're inside the car. And finally, bad guy number 1 is finally taken out of the fight, and the fight's taken out of him with a couple of last well-placed shots, and the bad guy number 2 runs off, and this one thankfully is over as they're going to finally get the car out of the danger zone. Now, I want to go back. There's two distinct lessons here. One is about the car and its occupants, and that is use your car. Put that sucker in reverse and get the heck out of there. Don't stay in the danger zone. He may not have been able to go forward because of traffic, but to the rear was open. Use that car and get the heck out of there. Secondly, now we're going to go to the two bad guys and just think about, tactics in winning the fight. Do you notice they're both using the car here? They're both using that for cover and or concealment. And sometimes concealment's as good as cover. It doesn't have to stop the bullet if the bad guy's not going to shoot at you. Now these guys are going crazy, and as people are piling out of the car, we see here that bad guy number 1 is shot pretty good, and he is knocked down. But being knocked down, we talk about, shoot until the threat gets knocked down. Man, knockdown is not always out of the fight. And we see here that this guy still has some significant fight in him. Now, bad guy number 2 here, I noticed this is one of the few times in any real-life gunfight that I've seen that I see an actual reload, a slide lock out of rounds reload. This is one of the very few that I've seen. But he does, and hey, again, I'm not planning personally on being in a protracted gun battle, but you never know, you may not be able to get away, so I do carry a reload and encourage you to as well. And this is very common. We see in untrained fighters as he's using one hand on that gun to extend it out as far from him as he can. Instead, get the training to put both hands on the guns if you need to put shots on target. Not endorsing his behaviors here, just saying about shooting in general. Now, obviously, there's something wrong with his gun. He keeps trying to get it into the fight, and he's having a hard time with it. Get a reliable gun. And finally, we see here that our bad guy number 1 is still in the fight. He's shot several times, and he is out of commission in terms of really his mobility, but he's not a non-threat yet. And so if you have those kind of situations, if you're bad guy number 2, keep fighting no matter what until you're out of fight. If you're bad guy number 1, don't assume because a threat is down that it's out of the fight. Again, I don't endorse any of their behavior because I don't know it, but let's learn the lessons from them that apply to us as good guys and cover our asp.